What are your guys' takeaways of Trey Smith missing 4 days with the hip, which I don't know how serious that is or not. The specialist thing makes me a little nervous, but I don't know. But what are your thoughts on you have this what we thought was a right tackle battle going on between Khil Benson, Jalen Moore. Ever since Trey Smith has been out, though, Khil Benson has been at right guard. He had 1,000 snaps at right guard in college, so I get it. But if
Yep.
there's a right tackle battle and he's an undrafted rookie swimming in the playbook and all this stuff, is it not counterintuitive to some extent to not keep him out there? Like, what is your guys' thoughts about Benson being at right guard and then Jalen Moore being at right tackle the last 4 practices?
I think it's twofold. On one hand, they want to keep giving Benson as many first team reps as they absolutely can. And so it is a natural, transition to go from tackle to guard if need be, I guess, because of that experience in college. The other thing too is I'm not thrilled if I'm Hunter Norzad. I'm just not. Like, I'm not thrilled if I'm Mike Caliendo, someone who's played in the NFL before, someone who's had positive moments that, okay, like, I don't know, based on my eyes so far, who is the backup interior offensive lineman number one. Like, I don't know who that is. And so I think what we're seeing is a coaching staff really prioritize like trying to get the most out of Benson possible and just see like, hey, let's see how your brain works today. Let's see if your assignment's sound. Hey, this is cool. Here's Chris Jones. Godspeed. And there was a couple times where I said, why'd you? I mean, but this will prepare him for the season. Like we've talked about before, like there's really no one quite like Chris. And there was moments where it was like, oh my God, Chris is just like flashing in front of all of us. But Andy Reid said yesterday, like, this is going to be a great experience regardless of whether or not he starts the season or he is your top guy, whether it's at guard or at tackle, especially on the right side. So the struggle I have is, I guess if Trey Smith has a minor hip thing, I don't necessarily want to put him out there on Saturday against the Los Angeles Rams. That seems unnecessary. But also, like, I guess we're going to see Benson start Saturday's preseason opener at right guard, and then I guess kick out the tackle when it's the second string offensive line would be my guess. But I was really looking forward to him, like, being next to Trey Smith, and it just doesn't look like that is probably going to be the case, even though we are led to believe that there's nothing really serious with Trey Smith.
Yeah, I had a different thought that I thought they would rotate those guys a little bit, that like every day they would flip. So Jalen would be right guard, Benson would stay at right tackle, and they'd kind of go back and forth each day. I've been surprised that they haven't done that. So it does seem like if Trey were to go down, potentially, Benson is just the guy who's going to be the right guard. Because again, I think this also shows that they're not entirely certain who the right tackle is going to be, because if you had an idea that Benson was probably going to end up being that guy, then you would want Jalen to be kind of the backup at the next 4 positions. You wouldn't want, Khalil to be the guy that would necessarily be there at right guard if Trey were to go down. So I think it does also inform us, you talked about the cookie crumbs and trying to figure out how the Chiefs do things. I feel like it does kind of inform us that they're not entirely sure who the right tackle is going to be, and it still is a bit of a competition. But to Nate's point, they want him out there. They want him with the one unit. They want to have him hearing Pat's cadence, the way he talks, Creed at the line of scrimmage, going up against, Chris and Peter and Tonga. And so it is interesting, how they've done this, and just trying to, I guess, accelerate the timeline of, hey, you're going to be with that first group kind of regardless of how we do things. Because, I mean, you guys talked about, like, how does Hunter feel? How does Caliendo feel? Like, part of it's, like, probably not the best, but also you got to play better. Like, for the most part, things are always solved by playing better and showing the coaches you can do it. But I feel like for maybe backup interior O-linemen, I talked about the idea that Jalen Moore, you wouldn't just say, oh, we feel comfortable with him at right tackle, so we don't need to give him right tackle 1 rep, so we're going to play him with the second unit. We're going to flip him, left side one day, right side the other. Like, it doesn't really work like that when you're a starter. They just, like, know what you have. So here, be a super backup and change roles every day. I think if you're the backup interior lineman, you've been on the team for, 3, 4, 5 years. They obviously, Caliendo has played, a decent amount of football now on the field. They know exactly what they're getting in him. So they don't necessarily need to see that guy at right guard. Maybe, Hunter, they don't feel quite as good at, so they're just like, well, he's probably not going to be the primary guy in. Anyway, it might be Caliendo, kind of regardless. So in that sense, it does make sense that Benson would be the right guard and they would leave those guys on the second unit because they don't really need to see those guys with, right guard one duty. But it was fun to see Khil because he's in there and he's not afraid of Chris. A lot of guys get scar tissue after having to practice against that guy over time, but he doesn't have that yet. He is just going after him and throwing his hands and being aggressive. And, his best attribute seems to be being big and strong and being able to move people. And he tries to do that every single play. So I think from that element, it's been cool to see. And, going against Chris is maybe not the best thing for you to do every day because he's so good. And two, he's just so different. My thing with Chris has always been you throw your hands against him and he either swipes them or he does the Hamilton and lifts them and you lose. You don't throw your hands because you're worried about that stuff and he puts his hands in your chest and he walks you back to the quarterback and you lose. So it's kind of a pick your poison, lose. Use my hands, lose. Don't use my hands, lose.
Yeah.
And so you're going against that guy every single day in practice. You start doing kind of crazy, funky things to defeat him specifically, which takes you away a little bit from just like repping your base fundamentals. They're going to work against everybody else that you'll see. But it does seem like, again, Khil is just out there playing ball, shooting his hands, being physical. And, Spags, I will say one of my other takeaways is like these guys do not see base defenses. Spags is doing all sorts of fronts, blitzes, twists, games. So it's not even like he's just out there getting reps against a 4-3 front with Chris a 3-tech shooting the B gap. He's seeing a ton of stuff, guys going in every direction, different fronts. You're almost having a game plan every single day from the O-line and quarterback perspective when you get into those blitz drills and the red zone stuff. So I think having him out there with that first unit, like we said, in either of those spots is incredibly valuable. When it does seem like they're pretty sold that he's going to be, if not an immediate contributor, like a likely contributor when the first guy goes down and likely into next year.
That's a really good, I didn't think of it like that in the sense of the more reps he gets with the first team offense in general, the better hearing Mahomes going up against the best of the best, whether it's at guard or tackle. In my mind, it's just easiest if Jalen Moore is kind of the secretive, he already won the right tackle battle. So we're just, as a backup lineman and Benson, give him all the reps that you can because that's the name of the game as a backup, right?